welcome to this impromptu live painting demo. I just got my webcam set up, so I thought I would give it a try by working on this portrait of a young woman named Christine that I found on Pinterest, and I found her Instagram page also. So this is a just really close up of her face, so it gives me an opportunity to do an hour and a half demo, and just sort of get the feel of this new setup that I have. Let me see if I get this a little tighter. Got it perfectly straight, and now I'm messing it up, but that's okay. Um, that's good enough. Okay, so I'm the only one here at the moment, but I'm sure if some people will join us as I get going. Usually I do a little bit of notice of these before I do them, but today just didn't have the energy to do that. So the way I have this set up, unfortunately you can't see when I'm doing a measurement of her face. You're not going to be able to see that part because I do have that part hidden, but you do get a close up of what I'm painting, so you can see a little bit better of my brushwork, even though I'm not sure the resolution of the video that I'm working on. And eventually I'm going to order another webcam so I can point one down at my palette so that you can see that also as I'm working. Usually I have the camera backed up a little bit so that you can see the palette also, but that's fine. Um, so when I have that second one going, then you'll actually be able to see the palette a lot better than what I have now. Just measuring to the top of the eye, something like that. Then it usually is good to figure out where the corners are. And then her eyes feel a little bit wide apart. That's just because of the proximity of her phone to her face will create a little bit of that distortion. Um, so it is exaggerating some of her features a little bit. Um, the central part of her face feels sort of pushed out, and that's just that normal distortion from the phone's camera. You're essentially taking a photo from about 3 feet away, and the lens uh, aspect is designed probably closer uh, for about 10 feet away for it to feel not distorted. Okay, we have maybe 3 people in right now. That's good. Feel free to tell me where you're watching from, and if you want to ask any questions, I'm happy to answer them. That chin feels a little bit high, so I'm going to measure from the bottom here. And yep, so her chin needs to come down to about there. So I also have to move some of her features down. Her lips are probably closer to about this spot. Something like that. I want to make sure I pay attention to the center line of where her lips are. Center line meaning the vertical center. You would have a line something like this through the middle of the face, down the lips a little bit. Her face is turned just at a slight angle, and then over the chin. Let me get a measurement of the bottom of her lips too. So that actually does have to come down a little bit lower. Center line. Something like that. And then so the base of her nose probably is lower also. Yeah, that doesn't make sense. How is that right? Hold on. Just have to move the photo a little closer so I can judge better. Okay. So the base of her nose is somewhere around here. See, I had it just about a full inch higher. But how, that means that her eyes may be off a little bit too. Okay. If anyone's can hear me, please let me know that the sound is okay. So how is it when I measure from the top, the eyes are that high? Because they're not. I don't know, how is it that I measure and I paint something in and then it's so far off from what I measured? That just absolutely makes no sense to me, but it's a good thing I remeasured. So measure from the top and the bottom. In this case, I'm working on a 1-to-1 aspect ratio. There is definitely something amiss here. Let me just check my sizes on this image. So yes, I do have it off. Okay, so let's resize my image a little bit. Okay, now I can start measuring all over again. Sorry about that. You just wasted the first 5 minutes of this painting with me, but no big deal. Okay, let's try that again. So measurement of the eyes from the top. That actually looks pretty close. It'd be a bit lower. Yep. And then just going to check it from the bottom. I did once do a painting. It was I had it sized on my monitor 8 by 10, but the panel I had was a 9 by 12, and it took me good 15 minutes into the painting before I figured out something just wasn't adding up, and then I ended up using that panel for a completely different painting and to start it over again on a different panel. Okay, so base of the nose and lips. That's actually not too bad. And the bottom of the chin. Okay. That can come up a bit higher. Okay. It's a little too wet. There we go. Base of the ear. So all the way down here. So the fact that her ear lobes are that low indicates that her head is tilted back, and that's what we see. Her chin is slightly forward and her top of her head is tilted back a little bit away from us, just very subtly, and the ears are the biggest clue to that, where they sit in the face. Okay, so now I've made all these distracting lines. I need to clean this up a little bit, so I'm going to get a mixture of kind of orange and white, a little bit of red and yellow in there. I got to get some more yellow on my palette because I don't have enough paint going here. Okay. So far an interesting start to this painting, but I hope you guys are enjoying the new feed. If it's actually working. I haven't installed yet. Usually it tells me if I think the new setup I have tells me if it's stalling, but it looks like the connection's been pretty good so far. So woohoo! Hopefully I can get over some of these technical problems with connection that I've had using my iPhone to do the feeds. Okay, let's just get a fair amount of the half tone in just to clean this stuff up so I can really start to see what I'm doing. Want to keep it a fair amount of yellow in there. I tend to go too cool in the flesh tones, so getting a little bit of yellow in there helps, although I'm pushing it it's kind of on the strong side right now. I tend to lighten everything with white instead of yellow, and then that just pushes everything cooler. The white has a cooling effect, and so if I keep on only going to white, then the overall tendency is for everything to get too cool. Okay, now top of the lips. Let me measure that in the base of her nose again, because I kind of lost track here with all the changing. Yep, that looks about right. So have the base of the nose, throw in indication of the nostrils. Got a little bit of gray in here. I'm going to throw that into spots where the painting does get a little grayer. I always think gray is kind of the hardest color to paint because my paintings overall tend to be more vibrant than the resources, and they don't tend to get muddy because I get very specific about colors in each area that I'm painting. So it bounces from one bright color to another, and I don't tend to notice the duller colors as much. I tend to compensate to go too bright and too colorful, and um, and so I know that's the opposite problem that a lot of people have, where the color gets real muddy. But so one of my missions, though, is to really look to see where there's some areas of neutral colors, more grays than um, than brighter colors, because I tend to just overlook them, and I paint everything too bright. So that, but it really does need those grays. That's sort of like the what do you call it? Just sort of grounds the painting, gives it a greater sense of realism. So without those grays, everything starts to look a little bit too cartoonish. Let's get the color of the whites of the eyes. Deb Ray says, hi from Lincoln, Nebraska. Um, nice surprise. Are you going to start doing live paintings on Sundays? I don't think so. That's not the plan right now, but I just got this new webcam set up. It took me several months to kind of spend the time and go through all the, play with all the configurations before I got it to work properly. So I have, theoretically, it's hard for me to tell right now because I haven't turned my own sound up. But I assume that the sound is working pretty well, and the picture, there aren't any drop-offs, and so far so good. And let's get a little bit of the darker red. But hey, if I'm finding it's easy to set up, and I don't have to pull out my phone, and I can just have the webcam sitting here, then I may be more tempted just to turn it on as I'm doing my regular painting workouts. And I do have some audience in Europe and the Middle East who aren't generally able to watch because it's in the middle of the night for them when I do my Tuesday night painting demo. So this might be a little bit of a nice surprise if they're online and paying attention. I didn't post it on Instagram. Maybe I should throw it on there real quick. I do have my phone here, and so I guess I can just go into, if you bear with me a second, I can just go right into Instagram, go to my story, and flip it around. And how do I do this? Oh, I guess I go live. Great. Hi guys, I'm doing a painting right now on YouTube. If anyone's paying attention is out there, I'm doing this photo of Christine. Her handle is Cara1Una, and I will just letting you know just quickly, and I'm going to get back to my YouTube live, but come over to AJ Alper on YouTube and watch me live right now. I'm going to be painting for the next hour or so. So hope to see you there. Okay? Thank you. So, and live chat. And so as people go to my story, I guess they'll see that and come on over. So won't then people won't miss it, I guess. Okay, well, thanks for putting up with me for that little bit of cross-platform advertising. I don't have enough white here. I have to go much lighter in the forehead. and much more towards purple is the color that I'm seeing in there. And then I got to pull her hair down. Let's get the mouth to read a little bit better than what it's doing. Checking the halfway point of the mouth. That's pretty close. I can adjust it later. It's the great thing about oils is they can be pretty forgiving as long as you don't go too thick too quickly, and then you have to overcome all the paint that's already down. Okay, a little bit of light pink up here in the lips. And we got some beautiful colors in here, some blues, some greens. Try to keep them kind of close in value so they sort of play with each other a little bit. This goes a little bit darker red, but then I got going back to blue here in the sides of the face. Got a little bit too yellow there. Okay. So let me see. Mario Ronaldo says sound is okay, a little rough, very little mild distortion. Do you plan to show the palette in the future? Yes, I'm purchasing another webcam so that I can get both close to the panel with one webcam and then show straight down on the palette with the other. If you look back at my other demos, you can see the palette, but it's kind of at an angle and it's a little hard to see what I'm doing. So I do want to bring up the level a little bit, level up as they say, bring up the quality so that I'm not hurting people, forcing them to watch terrible quality video. Let's get the lower part of the nose in here, just really rough, and she has a little bit of gray going on the outside of her nostrils there. And I will clean that up. Oh, and I was going to paint blue. Again, a quick break to throw some more paint down. Let me see, we've got radiant white. That's actually a good one for today because there's so many cool light areas on her face. It's similar to titanium white because it has the same pigment in it, titanium oxide, but it uses safflower oil as the binder instead of linseed oil, which gives it a cooler undertone and mixes much brighter with cooler colors, blues and purples. And so that'll help me keep those areas a little bit cooler, as you can see, like in this example here in the chin. Let's go a little bit redder, darker on the bottom of her chin. And then got some little bit redder here. And that's right against the black of her hair. So let's just put some of that down so I can start to see it. Then her neck, something like this. Great. Oh, fuzzy sound. Oh no. Well, I have, I do have the, oh, I wonder if this webcam has a microphone. That may be causing some problems. If I can figure out how to turn that off. Audio input capture, mic AUX. Let me see if this helps at all. Can you still hear me? Maybe it'll sound better. Because now I just have the mic and not the, oh, maybe I need it the other way around. Let's switch it. Okay, I think this is probably audio input capture and I have the mic, I don't know. I'm going to have to do a little bit of testing if you guys can bear with me. If you really hate it, then just turn the sound off and watch. Like I said, I'm doing, oh, do you know what? I can turn on my own sound so I can get a sense of what you're hearing. It'll take there's maybe about a 10-second delay, and then I'll start to hear it. That'll give me a chance to clean it up for you guys. Yeah, I hate it when the sound quality is really bad. It starts to get really painful. And I'm not hearing my sound. Maybe, am I hearing it through the headphones? Okay. Deb Bray says I'm not having any problem with the sound. Maria said you sound far away now. Okay. I don't hear my own sound coming in through my speaker, so I don't know what's going on there. Oh well. Um, I'm just gonna have to keep on going though. And we'll get this fixed either this time or the next time I do this. Okay. Need to fix her eyes here. Okay, so that's why I put down the white initially, is so I can get some of her eye color down. Really have dried up blue here. So I guess got a little bit that's still has some live paint in it. Okay, there. Well, that just looks worse, but and her eyes are kind of a caramely color, so I'm getting some alizarin permanent mixed with yellow as a start to get that color. I can throw some black in around the edges. Okay, that's looks like it's about in the right direction. Can barely hear you, and I'm afraid to turn it up because of the terrible occasional loud microphone. Well, let me move the microphone away from my face, and then I'll turn the mic up. And sorry, maybe that'll sound better. I still one of my feeds says audio input capture, and I don't know if that's actually from the webcam, and then the other is my microphone that I have as part of a headset, and there's another feed that says mic AUX, which I think that's what that is, and they're both turned on. So the fuzziness may be the fact that both of those are playing at once, are coming in. So, but I'm not sure which one to turn off. So it's may take me a while to figure this out. Sorry, I was so focused on getting the video feed to work that I wasn't paying enough attention to the sound. Can barely hear you. Okay, so that's the past message. I turned my own sound on to see if I could get it. Maybe it's okay. I do have that off now. Now I think I'll start hearing the sound from that. Let's see. I'll turn that one off. That one on, and maybe so. Might be a little bit of feedback, but that's okay. Okay, so I lost a little bit of her face on this side, so I have to come back in and get some of those cool pinks in. A little bit brighter. And give her back some of her chin. And remember, head's pointed a little bit in this direction, so I want to make sure that I have the base of her nose over far enough. That's the side of her nostril. This is from the other side. That looks about right. As long as I have the other features of her face in the right place, then that should read as her head turned a little bit to one side. Let's get a little bit of white in her mouth, where we're seeing a bit of her teeth. It's really kind of a blue violet, but I'm going to start off kind of maybe a little bit too light initially. We got some almost pure red on her lower part of her upper lip. Okay, so can't barely hear you, and I'm afraid. Okay, that's an old comment. If anyone can tell me what the sound is like now, that would be helpful. And there is about a 10-second delay, so it's it would help me decide how to adjust this thing here, because I'm still not hearing my own sound. Okay, a little bit of black here for the earlobe. Okay, something like that. Okay, and this gets a little bit lighter towards the edge of her temple there. This is where I need to pay attention and have enough yellow in the paint. Okay, I'm going to punch those darks of her nostrils a little bit harder. Okay. Keep it up there until you solve the distortion. Okay. Okay. Fuzzy like before, but further away, much further. I think I got to turn on this input capture one, which I think is the microphone of the webcam. Let's see. Let's turn that volume down. And now I just have the auxiliary mic, and that one's all the way up. And maybe partially because it's plugged into my keyboard and not directly into the computer, it may have a little bit less power. And I am moving the mic a little bit closer to my mouth, so hopefully that'll be good. Measuring again the side of her face where the hair is, cutting in. And then I want to come in with a background color. So I'm going to go with a darker, like with a reddish color, I think. Because that'll help us see that the head is turned a little bit when I can crop into the hair just slightly. If I have too much hair on that side, it'll look like her head is turned a different way. Okay, why aren't I hearing my own sound? That is the question. Let's turn this up. Hello, hello. Come on. I should be able to hear this. Do I not have my microphone plugged in? Maybe not. I should be able to hear it. Yeah, I unplugged something that was maybe my microphone. Again, bear with me a second. I'm going to plug that back in. And let's see if I can get my own sound working. Oh, there I go. Yep. Yep, there it is. There it is. Okay, so the sound doesn't sound too bad to me. You can hear it, and it's not. I think it sounds pretty good. Okay, I'm going to call that acceptable unless it's really killing somebody. And I'm going to turn it down just a bit, just so I can hear it, barely hear it. Okay, so I'm going to keep on moving here. This is actually far better than the setup I had before, so and it's only going to get better with time. So pretty soon it will be like you're sitting in my own living room. So just have to be patient with me. Okay, I'm going to turn my sound off completely. I don't need to hear myself saying stuff half hour after I already saw it. Oh, and my whole thing got tilted a little bit. Okay, so we're about 20 minutes in, 25 minutes, um, and the wheels haven't come off the cart yet, so that's good. And have about 6 people here watching. You're, again, welcome to ask questions, and unless I missed any. Um, okay, distortion, yeah. Okay, once I get the rest of her hair painted in here, let's go a little bit blue in the reflection of her hair, and then next to the black, it will look like the light is hitting it. And I'm going to paint around my clip. I'll have to retouch that later. Okay, so now I can start to adjust the shape of her face, have the angle kind of off there. And again, she lost some of her jaw here on this side. That is totally the wrong color. Too much black in that. So let's get some cleaner pink in there. And then I do want her nose to be, the bridge of her nose to be a little bit at an angle, because it's coming out towards us and her head's slightly tilted. So doing the math is that further to the right is further away, and then a little bit to the left is closer to us, if I'm following the logic of the direction that her head is pointing. Let's get a little bit of the highlight there. Let's close up this gap here. And her eyebrow comes up higher. I'm just moving the paint around a little bit. And let's give her eye a little bit more characteristic that's there. I'm not really slowing down to grab a smaller brush right now. I'm just trying to keep it nice and loose. She's got a bit of red eyeshadow. It's really bringing out the pinks in her, around her eyes and in her cheeks. A little purple here. And let's get the shadow on the underside of her eyelid and the tear duct going. The corner of her eye just should come right outside her nose. You can see I have it over too far. So let's just pull this whole thing over. Get a little bit of blue on this side. And the same with the other side. Have to pull that eye over a little bit in the other direction. Okay, I think it's time to pull out a little bit smaller brush to get some of these details in. Okay, this calls for more red. And And the blue has to get a little bit deeper on the far edges to feel like it's turning away from us. And pull the bottom lid up a little bit. Just trying to work quickly here, not stop too much and really evaluate too much, but at some point I do have to do that. Okay, I can see on the monitor that my my calibration is a little bit too bright overall. Wonder if I can fix that. Let me see. Do I even have it open? Nope. It's somewhere here. Brightness, turn it down a little bit. There we go. I think that's looking a little bit better and a little bit less contrast, I think. But overall, I think that looks good. Okay. So I'm trying to get that pupil to read, but I don't have enough of that reflective blue in there for it to really pop. That's a little bit better. And then more of that kind of caramel color coming in on the other side. Then I have to pull this up a little bit. Okay, and then I need to pull her bridge of her nose over a little, just make some adjustment there. Because you see I have it almost straight up and down here, and it's angled in a little more at an angle in the photo. And that's kind of a purple, lightish color in that area. And then she's got a lot of gray right in here. Don't forget the yellow. It's almost like a mantra with me to get me to use it enough. Yellow, yellow, yellow. And her eyebrows are pretty high here. Maybe it's the expression partially, but just those are the angle, I think, of the camera. And let's fix this right here. This comes out a little bit more. And then it comes back faster right here. Except I didn't have the right color on my brush, but that's okay. And this sits back further on this side, and then her chin comes in faster, a little bit faster here. Okay, let's get some of her neck color in. So again, if you want, please let me know where you're watching from. I'm hoping more of my European followers are tuning in because they can't watch me generally for my Tuesday night painting demos because of the time difference. So it would be nice if some of you guys in Europe are catching this. As feeble attempt at doing a a well-organized demo is at this moment with changing all my technology, just smoothing out some of those transitions a little bit so that the turns of the form would start to read a little bit better. Okay, so it looks like her neck is a little bit lighter than her face in this photo. So I have to pay attention to that. You get a little bit of blues from her blouse here, but it has to be a lighter blue, more like the whites of her eyes. Let's see if I can, yep, closer to that color. And let's get some of that really nice rosiness that's at the tip of her nose, kind of reflecting from something that looks like she's near something that's red, if it's not just the makeup. Okay, I'll get a little orange in there. Let's get a little bit of the purple that's in the eyebrow. So I guess maybe my next investment is to buy a better quality microphone. Problem I have is I move around a lot when I paint, so a headset kind of works better because it follows me. Otherwise, I'd be um, coming in and out in volume, which you can kind of fix in post-production if you're doing a not a live video. Now, real trick here is keeping the black fairly clean, which means that cleaning off my brush a lot better than I have been, and and having an area of the palette that doesn't have white already down. So let's scrape back a little bit. Feel that? Sorry about that, guys. Let's straighten that out a little. So supposedly I have enough clean black here to get these darkest blacks. Still a little bit of white in the brush. Okay, the earlobe is a little bit redder, and it's aligned with the base of the nose. That earlobe on that side. And then her mouth does start a little bit, cuts off a little bit sooner there than what I had it. Just a tad further on that side. Okay, so sound is good, just a tiny bit of noise when you talk. Hi from the Netherlands, by the way. Thank you. Yeah, I do have kind of a cheap microphone. It's part of a headset, and if I move it too far away from me, you can't hear me, and if I move it too close, then you hear every consonant I make kind of pop a little bit. So sorry about that. I am upping my budget a little bit to improve the quality here, and so, but that's just going to take time. Just a little bit of green in here. Pushed it a little bit hard there, but that's okay. Looking for other places where I can see that kind of cool color coming in. Okay, and want a little bit of value change at the height of her eyelid there to tell us that that's closest to us. And then it gets a little darker on each side. Yep. Had the shape of her eye just right there, and then I just went a little bit too far. Okay, need a smaller brush. So back to the detail brush. It's not really a detailed brush, it's a worn down bristle round, but it's almost coming to a point now. Who needs new brushes when you have nice worn down old ones? Need a little bit of a cooler blue, so trying to get some ultramarine out of my dried up pile of paint. Just a little bit in here. Just pulling her eyebrow up even a little bit higher. Okay, and now everything's starting to get close enough that I can start to flick back and forth between the reference image and the painting to see where things are significantly off. So her jaw is a lot squarer than what I've made it. Not that square, but it's the right direction. Something like that. And then it's a little bit lower on the other side too. And comes up. And then she has a highlight on the far edge. What I mean by highlight, more like a reflected light. Let's clean this up a little. And then I do want a bit of shadow that's on the underside of her chin so that it starts to separate from her neck. Then I can come in with a little bit darker red under here to give the idea that it has a very faint shadow. And then there's something like a purple that's going on right there in her neck and here. Sorry for all the scrapey noises. And she does, her chin's just a little bit pointier than what I made it. So I can come down just a little bit more. So I'm just making a bunch of finer tuning, fine adjustments, and that is what really helps get you to um, something having the likeness of the person. It's not till you get some of those proportions and placements in the right place that it really does start to feel like somebody. It takes a while to get there and a lot of patience. Sometimes it's easier just to paint, use a reference, but then stylize it enough so that it's not really intended to look like the person. Takes a lot more time to make those fine refinements before all that starts to work in terms of a likeness. So what I don't have here is I don't have her upper lip and her nose quite close enough. So I'm starting to work those a little bit closer together. Okay, and at some point I'm going to have to get to an even smaller brush to work out some of the smaller detail. Let's clean some of this up over here where I moved her eye a little bit further away from her nose. There's just a touch of greens in here. And then I have that highlight on the tip of her nose just a little bit too high, so I'm going to work on bringing that back down. And let's get that purple back in here, a little bit darker purple. And then get a little bit of shadow from her lower eyelid from the underside, and there's a bit of yellow in there. Don't forget that yellow. And I have her iris too big because um, the white of her eyes actually start to come down underneath. Not completely, but very close. Did I just paint my camera? Almost. Just while I was flicking my brush, I bumped into it. Okay. And then I'm going to improve the shape of the iris a little bit. You know when you get it really close, when it really starts to feel real. But sometimes it takes a while to get there. And it's just all those small color and value relationships, getting them right in the right place. And then it really does start to feel like the flesh is turning, that you feel like it's something you can touch. But it does take a little bit of patience to get there sometimes. Sometimes you just nail it right off the bat, but that's kind of rare. I know I need it to be a little bit lighter in the center there. You can feel I just came down a little bit too hard where her eyelashes are. So something like that. Have a little bit of light or pink right where that form turns. And then keep a little bit of purple in that corner there. And this needs to even out. Harder on the pink here. And there's a little bit of touch of darker neutral that comes in right here. And then again hitting that reflected light coming in here. And let's get her earlobe going, or her ear, I should say. And we have Shivani, if that's pronounced correctly. Hey, from India, just a great fan of your work and respect for you for taking your time and all of the effort into filming and uploading these demos. Great help for artists. Oh, you're welcome. Doesn't feel like such a huge effort, but I don't see a lot of people out there doing it. So, or I guess there's courses that you have to pay for, but there's not a whole lot out there that you can just see someone walk all the way through a painting live. Um, who knows if this painting goes terribly wrong, then it's live, gulp. But I have at least enough confidence that I'm sure I can pull something decent out of this. Okay, let's reassert that center line of the mouth here. And the same for the corners. Let's get the right color going here. Still kind of a warm red, although it's starting to lean a little bit cooler on the lower lip. And a little bit of purple in the mouth, in the where her teeth are. Not white white. Okay. Not too bad. Still, the camera image looks like it needs a little bit of adjusting. I'm gonna cut some of the brightness a little bit to get it look more like my actual painting, at least as much as I can. I think it needs a little more contrast and a little less color intensity, and that's not looking too bad. Of course, I'm only judging by what I see on my monitor. It may look totally different on yours. So I have an older monitor here too, and it's much darker and yellower, so can't go by that one. Okay, so I'm almost about an hour in. I'm going to try to finish this up in the next half hour, even though that seems like a bit of a stretch, but I am going for it. I'm going to pull the hair in a little bit on her neck. It just feels like it needs to be a little bit tighter on both sides. Has this kind of uh, angular feeling there where the hair is cutting in, almost like an hourglass. So I want to emphasize that. Go a little bit grayer underneath the chin. I think I came in a little bit too far right here. So I'm going to adjust the other way. Yep, that's better. And I have Aziomaz. Hi, AJ. Great to be here again. It's cut off on my screen. Okay, let me see if I can get, nope, just says it's. Okay, well, I'm sure that isn't where the thought ended, but that's all I got. Okay, so let's see if I can get some fine adjustment going here. I know I need to go darker underneath the chin here for it to separate. There's the chin, there's the cheek, the jaw. Let me pull out a different brush. I need like a 4 flat. Let's see if I can find something like that. Here, I got it. This one, yep. It's a little beat up, but I think it'll do the job that I need. So really gonna try to find the areas in the painting that are feel most different than the photo, and try to work on those areas. Try to find the places that will give me the most bang for the buck. Okay, I need to go a little bit brighter there. This where there's a bit more yellow. And then this transition's much softer than what I've put in there, with a harder shadow around the edge of the nose. I don't know if shadow's the right word, but just a little more accent. I'm going to correct the shape of that nostril, and then come straight across there. And I'm just going to indicate where her nose ring is, just to start to get the idea of it. And bring this eyebrow up higher too. And then bring her cheekbone down a little bit lower. Okay, and some of these spots I'm going to have to just slow down a little bit, because I've been working at this pretty aggressively, but to get something just the way I want it, sometimes I just have to shorten my breath and just really be careful and get the brushstroke right where it needs to be. Okay, So where I had that light area on the upper eyelid was not in the right place, so just slowing down and getting it. Ozma says, I nearly missed this and the time is so much better. Well, I'm doing this a bit on a lark because I'm testing out my new webcam, which took me, um, I bought it in December and it's taken me this long to get it mounted and configured so that the live feed works. It was not easy actually. I had to play around with every setting before it started to function properly. Okay, stepping on my headphone cord. That's no fun. Sorry about all the extra noise there. This distance is pretty far off from where it needs to be. And let's get that earlobe in. So I need a pretty clean pink, which means as little other colors besides the um, naphtha red and white. That's about where I need it. And let's adjust the shape of the ear a little. Make the top of the ear even lower. There we go. And then the hair comes out a little bit further. And then the bottom of her earlobe does come down lower. Something like that. Okay, getting that hollow of her cheek to read a little bit better. And let's get the shadow going on her lower lip so that we feel the bottom of it too. And then it goes a little grayer underneath. And then we have the highlight on the chin coming right up against that. soften this transition up a little bit here. Let's get this highlight back in here. And let's start to get that nose ring to pop just a bit. Oops. That is a lot brighter red than what I wanted. It's really closer to purple. Okay, so it's about 4:30 here on the west coast of the United States. I am going to, it's about 4:05. I'm going to paint till about 4:30. And then I'm going to take it offline after that. But I think that I should get pretty close in that time to the finished painting. Let's get the underside of that cheek. She has a little bit of blush on. Still got to bring the nose down a little bit. Not really feeling the bottom side of her nose quite that well yet. Meaning I'm not really feeling it pointing downward. That's starting to read. Okay, so there's lots of transitions here that are really way too abrupt. And I have some interesting colors here and there that I need to get in. And there needs to be a little bit more light here to get the side of the nose to separate. Trying to get that area in her neck just a little bit darker. Just trying to get the chin to come forward here. kind of even feel like that earlobe still needs to come down even more. It's kind of at this angle, so right there. Yep, that's the spot. And then this distance doesn't feel right yet. It's just a fraction. Some of these things that are really painful in portrait painting is because it can be right on, except it can be a millimeter or so off, and then that's just gonna throw everything else off. And that distance just um, felt like it was off just by a smidge. There we go. Okay. Margarita Cavada Mancia says, Es lo máximo, me encanta. I think that means it's the best. I love it. But my Spanish isn't so good these days. I probably should have told Christine that I was painting her. I didn't even contact her. Is that rude? I don't know. Just I will let her know after the fact, so if she wants to watch it, she can. Okay, so about 15 more minutes here, and then I will take it offline. But it's getting pretty close. It's still pretty messy, but once I make all the fine adjustments, it will look a lot better. Okay, okay, now just fine tuning. Okay, let's get that measurement right. Getting that little strand of hair that you see coming right in front of the ear. And a little bit of shadow below it, where the earlobe is lighter against it. I can go a little bit greener there, even though blue-green, even though I don't really see that in the photo, but I just need that little bit of color difference to help me out. I feel like this distance is too wide. It's not though, so something else must be a little bit off. Here. Let's pull this cheek out a little bit. Then I'm pulling her jawline a little bit, her cheekbone up a little bit higher on this side. And a little bit lower again on this side. Let's get a little white on the brush if I'm going to adjust the color there. Oops, I did lose her shadow there underneath her lip. There. Just be a little more forceful about it and get that back. So a lot of fine adjustment on her jawline. It's just one of those areas that takes a long time to get it just where it needs to be. That's where I find I do spend a lot of time on the edges of the contour of the face, moving things back and forth a lot until I get it. Just never really comes right away the first time. Okay, I'm just going to indicate where her jewelry is just so I start to see it. Little copper colored pieces. And then she has a second chain, kind of that same coppery color. Comes right to the bottom of the panel. Comes up and then it goes a bit darker. Okay, that's helping me get a little bit of the feel. And Trixie says hi. Hi Trixie, welcome. Okay, just going to go for about 10 more minutes here, and then I will finish the rest of this offline, make some finer adjustments, and then I'll post it to Instagram. Please, if you're not already, subscribe to my YouTube channel so that you do get notifications when I do go live, and you won't feel like you've missed it. Also, I think you do have to hit there's a notification bell icon if you want to be sure that YouTube tells you. It makes some judgment that some people who are subscribed it will notify and other people not. But um, if you click on that notification bell, then it will definitely notify you. Again, like I said, the contour, it just needs so many little steps of adjustment until it starts to feel right. It takes a while to get there. And I'm going to indicate, well, I didn't finish doing her nose ring, but they have two little balls at the end, so I'm just going to put a dab of black first. And then I can just layer, put a touch of white just right on top of that. Not quite perfect, but you get the idea. Let's clean that up a little. And then I want to do the same thing with her earrings. Well, there's already black there because it's right over the black hair, so I just need to paint the white part for the most part. Something like that for one ear. That just feels too high. If I look at it, it starts, I should start a little bit higher. You need to get our earlobe down lower. So I'm just going to paint over that. Try it again. Okay, that feels a little bit better. And then I'm going to put that second hoop in. Then I'm going to put a little bit of black right under it. There we go. Then I need her chin coming forward a little bit. And what that means is I need to move it, the feeling of where the center line is over to the left a little bit. I'm just going to make these highlights over a little bit more. And then I'm going to cut it off a little bit more on this side too. That feels better. That's a little bit too red, but I'll come and adjust that at some point. that's the right color there, but it's just too light. Darken that up a little. Soften up that transition, and I'm just missing the shadow underneath her nostrils there, so let's punch that up a little bit. It's very red. And let's get the light here that's at the bridge of the nose. And we do have the light shining straight into her cheeks right here. Okay, so 2 minutes, and I am going to call it an afternoon. Thank you all who've come to join me. Let me see, it looks like we have 11 people altogether who've come to watch, or at least it's 11 concurrent. So 79 people, it sounds like, stopped by at one point or another. That's not bad for an unannounced live painting demo. This will be posted live, posted for for on-demand watching later. So um, if you want to stop back and watch it again, or if you missed part of it, or if you're just tuning in now, you'll have a chance to watch it. Again, subscribe to my channel if you can, and I'll be doing a painting demo on Tuesday night, normally scheduled time, 9 o'clock Eastern Standard Time on the, is it the 30th of April? No, I can't remember. Um, but anyway, look forward to seeing you there, and um, I'm going to continue to work on this and then post it when it's done. Um, so have a good night or a good afternoon, and I'll see you the next time. Good night.